Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Way Podcast, where we talk about Yahweh and how to live life His way. I'm your host, Victoria. I'm so happy you have stumbled upon this podcast. Please like it, subscribe on YouTube, and leave me 5 stars on whatever podcasting platform you're listening on. And let's get right into today's episode. What are we talking about today? We're talking about a little controversial one because this is something that has come up recently in my life where I have witnessed and heard just like dangerous Christian rhetoric that, calls for further conversations. And basically, there was a conclusion of like, this is not just an issue in this conversation alone. This is an issue in our Christian culture. And I just wanted to address just a few of them. I'm only scratching the surface. It goes so deep. Truly. But the one in particular, dangerous Christian rhetoric we are talking about today is in the realm of grace. So here's the gag. Not everything that's labeled grace is actually godly. And this type of twisted mindsets and viewpoints is what causes us to stick into things and stick things around in our life and keep things around in our life longer than it should be in our life, because we think that this makes us good Christians to endure these things when the Lord could be telling you to run. But because you have this skewed view and false theology of grace, you're tolerating things and you're carrying things that the Lord never asked you to tolerate or carry. Matthew 10:16, it says, "Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves." Jesus himself, here's the thing. Here is what creates this false Christian theology in our core. We have misunderstandings of who Jesus actually was and how Jesus actually operated. One thing, Jesus was not a pushover. And one could argue, he literally let people crucify him and beat him to pulp, truly, and then hang him on a cross, blah, blah, blah. That is a completely different conversation. He was doing the will of the Father and did not want it to happen. Or I wouldn't say that. He just asked God to please spare him. And God was like, sorry, this has to happen. And so Jesus did it for our good. So, let's leave that example out of the equation. Jesus was not a pushover. He looked people in their faces and called them fools. He spoke the hard truth and did not sugarcoat it, exited when he needed to exit, came in when he wanted to come in, just walked around like a G, okay? He was not a pushover. Jesus was not using grace as an excuse to get crapped on. For lack of better language. I think more things that fall under that category of the dangerous Christian rhetoric is just be patient. Endure. This life comes with trials. Extend grace. Nobody's perfect. Love like Jesus. What would Jesus do? I'm actually getting annoyed even just saying it, but here's the thing. Forgive. Jesus forgives. The word tells us to forgive. All of that stuff, here's the danger in it all. It's not like anything that was just said was false. All of that is actually biblical. And all of those things are actually calls of a Christian, of a Christ follower. And so here's the thing. What makes that rhetoric dangerous, though, is when we start using that to excuse bad behavior and ignore behavior patterns. And we're not being wise as serpents. We're actually being very unwise. And we're allowing terrible people and terrible things in our life because we're Christians and we have to give grace. Here's the thing. You always give grace as Christians. That's the call. But that does not mean you do not exercise and put down boundaries. This is frankly how you get walked all over, is having that false theology of give grace, but no boundaries. because you're giving grace and you're not exercising boundaries. And now this person is staying in your life, treating you like absolute garbage. This person is staying in your life, talking down on you, speaking death over you, not speaking life over you, not being a friend at all times, like Proverbs 17:17 says. Or was that the right verse? I don't know, but y'all know it's in Proverbs somewhere. The verse that says, iron sharpens iron. This person is not sharpening you. They're doling you out because they are not iron. And you do not have to keep this person in your life. I think sometimes we as Christians, we almost like simplify things too much to where we're not being wise. And the Lord gave us brains and free will and discernment. You are discerning that something is off. You are discerning that something is bad. And so the Lord is giving you the free will to exercise boundaries, to extend forgiveness, to extend grace, but put boundaries down and walk the heck away. Just because you're walking away and protecting, guarding your heart, which is also biblical, does not mean you're not extending grace, does not make you a bad Christian. If you are doing these things and not extending grace and not walking away, it's making you a doormat, frankly. You're getting pushed over, frankly, and the Lord does not want that for your life. Why do you think that he doesn't care how you're treated? If you're treated like crap, the Lord is like, don't treat my daughter that way. Do not treat my son this way. He cares. And so what makes us think that like doing these things are okay? Like it's just such a twisted way of thinking, but I just know so many of us are deceived in our theology of some of these Christian acts. And it is causing us to frankly be unwise and walk over spiritualizing things when the Lord's like, no, baby, I have given you discernment. You walk away. You don't wait until you hear me come down from the clouds and say, walk away now. Walk away. If this person is hurting you, mistreating you, harming you, it's causing you mental turmoil. It's causing your heart to feel icky inside because your heart is not guarded. You have the free will and the brain and the wisdom from the Holy Spirit to walk away. I want to scream this from the rooftops right now because I just feel like there's so many of us that are so deceived in this, and we are carrying cups and burdens that only the Lord is supposed to be carrying. This also goes with forgiveness as well. You can forgive someone, create distance. You can forgive someone and like not have a relationship with them. That doesn't make you the bitter one. That makes you the wise one. I think it's dangerous as well. And I feel passionate about this because I also feel Satan in this. It is so on brand for that man to take parts of God's word and to take parts of the call of the Christian walk and twist it to where instead of us walking in freedom and extending grace and forgiving one another and loving people like Jesus and being wise as serpents and innocent as doves, he's taking it and twisting it. And he's like, yeah, let's do this, but let's not be wise about this and get mistreated. Have terrible relationships in your life, relationships that don't allow you to flourish. Also, should we quote, what is it, 1 Corinthians something, that bad company corrupts good character. You are allowing bad company in your life because you think that this is the good Christian thing to do when this is frankly the unwise thing to do. And I just see and feel Satan twisting these things like just a hair in our community as Christians to make us endure things that like we weren't really meant to endure. And almost like make us dumb in a way of we can't exercise free will because of these things that we believe. And it's just so incredibly untrue. And so I just want to tell anyone out there, if you are listening to this episode and somebody is coming to mind of like, maybe I have extended grace a little bit wrongly in this relationship. Maybe I am in a relationship with a terrible man, but I keep feeling like I'm a Christian, so I have to extend grace. I have to extend grace. I have to endure this walk with him because this is the noble Christian thing to do as a woman. But you're thinking now, wait, maybe I should walk away. I'm just saying walk away, sister. That could be the Lord. Pray on it and walk away, because we are sticking around in things and situations and relationships so much longer than we should be, because we're trying to extend grace and not extend discernment and wisdom. I think wisdom is just the biggest thing as well, because I think as humans, the Lord has given us such a complex, like beautiful brain to just like think on our own, and has given us his beautiful spirit to have inside of us at all times to also help nudge our actions. And we are just walking around mindless, just thinking that we're doing these things and we can't exercise our own brains. And so, y'all, I am saying this with love. Jesus, help me, God. If you are in a situation, it could literally be anything. You could be working for a church and you are getting greatly mistreated at this church. Walk away. Extend grace and love and forgiveness and set boundaries and leave. It could be in a relationship, a romantic relationship. It could be in a friend relationship, a friendship. It could be with a family member. Insert whatever said relationship here. This could apply to any relationship in your life, but I pray that the Lord will take the scales off of your eyes to not be a doormat, because he was never a doormat, and to use wisdom and discernment of knowing when it is time to leave these harmful relationships that the Lord is not calling you to stay in. Yes, he calls us to extend grace. Yes, he calls us to forgive. He calls us to do all of those things. He does not call us to be unwise, and he's calling us to be wise as serpents. And so please, if there are relationships or people popping up in your brain as you are listening to this episode, I encourage you right now, please go turn this off immediately. Go spend time with the Lord and ask him, like, God, is this relationship good for me? Should I stay in this? Or are you calling me to walk away? Am I ignoring discernment because I think I'm doing the good Christian noble thing of extending grace but not boundaries? Please go sit with the Lord and talk to him about some of these things. And I just know the Lord is setting some people free, because y'all are entrapped in these things and carrying so much more baggage and bondage that you are supposed to be carrying because you are trying to extend grace and not boundaries. And so that's the end of this episode. Go sit with the Lord. Turn this off immediately. And I will see y'all soon.